Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Con Job Podcast proudly presents to you the best damn pod in the world.
We are back, and you are listening to Con Job again, in case you didn't hear that. Beautiful opening. And this week, Alexa and I are going to be doing a review of Tampa Bay Comic Con, which took place, August 23rd through the 25th in, you guessed it, Tampa
Bay, Florida.
Exactly. And we get into everything about the show that we normally do. Load in, setup, each day, people, vibe, booth, costs, everything. So most people would call it the whole kit and the caboodle. That's what we talk about. So hope you guys enjoy. Without further ado, Alexa, you're up.
Buenos dias. That's all. That's
we
all
had this whole long talk right before we started recording. That's all you come up with?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. The fans are upset.
Look, I'm not the best color person in the business for nothing. If you know the movie, you know the movie.
Major League.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah,
just a bit outside.
All right, so we are here this week to discuss Tampa Bay Comic Con.
Tampa Bay. We did Tampa Bay.
Sitting on the dock of Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it was definitely a con. Yeah, it was a thing.
Well, let's talk, because I have some secondhand knowledge of how our booth went, because if anyone happened to go by there, it was my father-in-law and my youngest son.
It was. Apparently Max forgot his badge at the booth on Saturday. So Meg's dad was by himself for half an hour, 45 minutes, because they wouldn't let Max back into the room. And he found a random VIP badge on the ground, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go in."
Of course.
I did
not hear this story, but of course you do. That's the most Max thing ever.
Oh, it's pretty funny.
Her father-in-law his name's Joe, but he is affectionately known in our family as Boppy.
Yes, this is the guy that has been sick in Costa Rica twice now.
Correct.
Yeah.
He had Cully, what was it this last time? He was in the actual hospital with.
Yeah, he was.
Crap, I don't remember. It was days though.
Yeah,
I want to say it was malaria, but it wasn't. It wasn't that serious.
It was basically they went down there. He went in the hospital. The time was up when they were getting ready to go home, and he got released.
Yeah, that was the first time we went. He got sick basically on the plane, and he was miserable for the first 2 days. But this time he went with her sister, and the entire time he was in the hospital from day 1 through day 8.
That's awful.
And I cannot remember what it was, but it wasn't AIDS. I know that, so that's good, because it went away.
Well, yes.
So,
and it wasn't. It wasn't some sort of sleeping sickness or flesh-eating virus. So
no,
that's good.
But he does have one lung. He does only have one lung. So
that's rough.
Yeah.
It's not wish any of that on him.
He's still playing 18 holes like it's nothing. So, all right, let's get into the show. I can tell you how our load-in went, and I'm going to need to know how your load-in went.
Okay. Thought you were going to tell us how your load-in went.
Okay.
Man.
So for ours, it was hold on, let me go ours first, because Joe pulled up in that little area before the docks, or I'm sorry, just past the docks, where it's 15-minute parking on the curb, and because I guess they were backed up, and as I'm sure you'll get into, they were backed up, and there was cars out to the street, so he just pulled there and took 2 or 3 trips up the ramp with him and Max alternating who was going to wait by the car while I think they had to go 3 times. So that was their load-in experience. So let's sit back and listen to yours, because we talked very briefly about yours.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, this is, as many of you know, this was Lexi's last show as show coordinator for FanX. So she's moving on. I am not going to say where she's moving to, because that's for her to say. She's already
kind of official yet?
It is official, but I want her to announce that I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, she hasn't put it out in the world. So the people that know. The people that don't, they will find out soon enough.
Correct.
But it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of obvious that this was her last show. Nothing against her, but there were definitely some things that weren't as um what's the word I'm looking for?
Streamlined.
They weren't as rigid as what they typically are. You know, the load in is typically very well run, even though it's always a cluster in Tampa because that loading dock is terrible.
Yeah, it's very small and it has that long
Yes.
ramp.
Yep. Um,
Yeah.
so we got there at 10 till 2. Our load in time was 2 o'clock. And we didn't get in until after 6 o'clock. Um,
I would start playing bumper cars
I was
or
I
twist
was
or
livid.
twisted metal.
Well, so what was happening was there was no clear marked path that we were supposed to line up in. Um, so people were just everywhere. There were cars cutting in line.
Mm.
Um, and nobody was checking to see if you were in wave one or wave two. So my salty ass decided,
Ooh, deep cut.
yeah. Um, but well, I was pretty pissed about, I left my apartment at noon on Thursday. Drove down to Tampa. Should have been an hour and 10 minutes. It took me an hour and 40. Um, then I sat in line for 4.5 hours, only to, at that point I had 3.5 hours that I could continue loading in slash setting up. Um, it was frustrating because it was one of those things where it should have been managed better because when I walked around,
He said all these places though should be
uh,
managed. They have one person out there.
well,
It's like,
exactly. And
yeah.
the frustrating thing is, and I'm not going to call them out, but I definitely took some notes on some vendors that were not supposed to be there for the 2 o'clock wave. And if they do any of the shows that I'm managing for, you better make damn believe that I'm gonna be holding them strictly to that because oh my god, they were these people were set up by time I was loading in, and they weren't supposed to be there until the second wave. So come on, guys, just read your damn emails and do what you're supposed to do. You know, we wouldn't have been sitting there for 4 hours had people not done that. And I think the other frustrating part was there were cars pulling up the ramp, with two loads of stuff. There were
Oh,
minivans that had, two loads of stuff, personal vehicles. And it's one of those things where if I had that, I would get a wagon or I would figure out a way to get my stuff up because that's
yeah.
just ridiculous.
Yeah, just taking
Um,
time from everybody else. And
yeah,
and you're waiting. So it's like it's not like you're pulling right in and just getting going. You're waiting. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So it's like what's the point?
You know what? It's people. So
Yeah,
load-in was
humans.
load-in was horrendous. Um, and it was a combination of people not doing the right thing, the lack of organization and the lack of the people that were, working the line, really doing what they've done in years past and saying, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here until 5 or 6 o'clock. Get out of here."
Yeah. All right. So then once the first part of the debacle ended for you, how was Friday? Because Friday for us was extremely slow.
So I was shocked. Um, this has been a show that has never been good for me.
You
You
can
know,
say it. You can say it. I want to hear you say it. There's never been what? A
no, it's never been good. Um,
starts with a G, but come on.
yes, yeah, it's never
That's
been good.
I'm gonna get you to do it just once.
Nope. Um, so I don't have high expectations for this show because it's like I said, it's been one of those shows that's for other people it's great and it's just been okay for me.
Now you
It's
say great, but is great really the right term?
um depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, so Friday Mind you, I was exhausted from sitting in the van. It took me an hour, a little over an hour to get loaded in. So I just came straight home, and set up on Friday morning. So do the setup, get everything set up. Um, Show floor opens and it's dead. It's nothing but VIPs for the first half hour. And then
No,
I
that would
know, I
never
know.
happen.
And the way that the show floor is set up is they're all on one side of the room. So everybody rushes to that side of the room. They're doing celebrity stuff, and it was slow. We get, the show was 2 to 7, or no, noon to 7. Sorry,
Yes, that's what
noon
I'm
noon to
checking
7
here.
on Friday.
Friday. Yep.
So I would say probably 2.5 hours in, I finally started getting busy. I did more on Friday at Tampa Bay than I did on Friday at Chicago. So that was a shocker. Um, and I was pretty pleased with that. So Friday it was slow start, but again, I felt like all the people were in my side of the room. Um, there was definitely not a lot of people on the other end of the room.
It's not an extremely large hall. So were you closer to the celebrities? Is that why
I,
they were on your
I
side,
was
or
I was
okay?
I was in aisle
So
400
people were just kind of
versus yeah.
congregating in that area by the
Yep.
celebrities more. Okay, okay. Because I was gonna say it's not extremely big to where they can just spread out and not. Hey, I didn't even get to that side of the hall. It's not New York,
Correct.
or
Yeah, where
mega.
it takes you a couple of days to go through the whole hall.
Right, right. So okay. I'm just looking at the hours to see how things looked. So what was the general vibe then of the people? Like,
Um,
was it were they up? I mean, it's Friday, so obviously that 12 o'clock Friday is people are still working, so you don't necessarily get the big time people, but or not big
we
time,
had
but
a lot
you
of
know what I mean.
people. There was a lot of
Yeah,
people there on
a
Friday,
lot of
and I
foot
think
traffic.
what drove Friday was the fact that Hayden Christensen was only there on Friday.
Ah, there's the answer then.
Yep.
Okay, okay, because
So
usually none of the celebrities or only some of the smaller celebrities are there on a Friday, so
correct.
that makes total sense then.
Yeah, you
Because we
had
had a similar thing with Terrificon with Keanu Reeves was only there on
yep,
Friday, so it
yep,
was freaking packed. But he was only
yeah,
taking the first 100 people. But that's neither here nor there.
right. But no, Friday ended up decent. My average sale was fantastic on Friday. I was not mad about it, and I was pretty excited because people were actually spending money, which is something that's
It's not that big for a
not
Friday. Yeah.
yeah. Um, then Saturday we get into Saturday, and Saturday started off really slow. Same thing that happened, on Friday. Everybody rushes to the celebrities. I think I didn't make my first sale until like 11:30. Um, and I don't think I broke $200 until afternoon. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty rough. And then it just picked up. At that
And
point
it
it
was
started,
what 10:30, right? 10:30 to 7.
yep, yep.
So VIP
Um,
was 10:30 or was VIP
VIP
10?
VIP was 10.
10. Okay.
Um, so yeah, it picked up again. Um, on Saturday, it was a lot of single items and two item sales. Um, a lot.
Is that the norm? Like
No.
when you say two items, like I understand one's not, but is two items more closer to the norm? Is it usually they're doing
Um,
buy two get one or
they're usually doing the forfer that I run.
yeah, yeah, okay,
Um,
okay.
or they're buying like a single larger item, versus just a $15
So
item or just two.
your average sale was much lower Saturday or early Saturday.
It was much lower early Saturday. Um, Luckily, with Elijah Wood being there, um, that helped because a lot of people were there for Lord of the Rings stuff. I was
Yeah,
able
because
to.
Andy Serkis was there too, right?
Yep, Andy Serkis was
Yeah.
there as well.
Right.
So that enabled some of the Lord of the Rings items that I had to kind of move. But Saturday ended fairly well. Can't complain. It was not nearly as strong as Chicago Saturday, but it definitely wasn't. It wasn't a failure by any means. It was the best Saturday that I've ever had at a Tampa Bay.
Okay. Yeah, the Chicago one's going to have to be one that we review because that I have some questions on that, so that'll be in another pod
Indeed.
a little later on. Okay. So then I guess foot traffic wise, was it normal Saturday? Foot traffic wise, did
It
it
was
seem like holy crap, it's Saturday?
it was busy.
Yeah.
People were walking the show floor, or at least my end of the show floor.
Did you
Talk
notice the same thing where they were more on your end?
So talking to a couple of the artists that were towards the other end, and a couple of vendors, they were not getting traffic on Saturday until later in the day, like 3, 4 o'clock. So it was taking people a long time to get down there.
Now, where were you in relation to Artist Alley? Because I know we were just off Artist Alley.
I was actually a decent way away from Artist Alley.
Okay. Okay. So that
That's
would explain things then, I think,
yeah, I
at
think
least from our
the
standpoint.
the way that Artist Alley is set up, and I had a talk with Dan after the show about how like no one likes that setup because of how it messes with the traffic flow of the entire show floor. Um, and it's his
Sounds like they need to hire somebody I know.
I know, right? His explanation was that that's what they've always done, and my
Oh, that
response
doesn't necessarily
was,
mean it's right.
well, I said, so if you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got.
Yeah.
And it was funny
And you'll
because
always be wrong.
he kind of gave me a look, and I was like, well, it's just that's famous Amos
Trying to
made
help.
made that comment, and he's a pretty smart guy. He's got great cookies.
Yeah, they're decent. They're
Yeah.
decent. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. And then I guess anything more for Saturday before we move to Sunday?
No, no. Well, went to
Oh,
Harpoon Harry's
actually,
on Saturday
I have.
night. The
Oh,
food place
explain.
downstairs. Harpoon Harry's is fantastic. It's downstairs from the convention center. It's really good food. But anyway, what were you gonna say?
Sales wise, was it Saturday sales or
It was my best Saturday I've ever had at Tampa Bay, but it
so?
still wasn't for the price of the booth. And you'll hear me say this again,
Yeah.
for the price of the booth, for how much those booths have went up since the FanX purchase. Um, it's definitely Saturday should be a lot more.
Okay. And so, did it feel? Because sometimes it shows. It depends a lot. I think a lot depends on the area. Um, it feels like you really have to sell. Like you got to really sell. Like I feel that way in like Portland, for
Okay.
example. You know what I mean?
Um,
Whereas I feel like Florida, like MegaCon, for example, people are just like, here, take my money.
yeah.
And that might
Um,
just be a Florida thing, but did it feel that way? Because you said it was your best sales, but did you have to
Here,
work your ass off or did it come
I didn't
easy?
have to work my ass off per se, but I definitely I had to do more chatting than I normally do at a show like this. So, I think it's more of people are people are just being people, and they're
People
they're
helping people.
wanting you to figure out, they want you to figure out how to get their money.
Right, right, right. Okay, okay. So it's not just, hey, look at my stuff and give me some money.
Yeah. Um, I
Okay.
did a whole lot of, oh hey, look, I have this cup. And one of the things that I should probably note is, we didn't get home from Chicago because we had some truck trouble until late Tuesday night. Um, and I wasn't about to spend 16 hours at the shop, so I was literally running on just the product that I had left from Chicago. Didn't make anything new, nothing. So, this entire show sales, I was out of probably about six of my top items.
Well, that hurts, especially if
It
it's
does.
early, like on a Friday or a Saturday. I've done that before where it's like my best seller, it's like I'm out of it either like by noon on Saturday. So it's like Sunday comes and I don't even have one to show because I sold the
Yep.
display one. So it's like, damn it. So yeah. it's a good feeling and a terrible feeling because it's the times where you're like, I wish I brought 100 of them, but
Yep, what can
but
you
you know
do?
how it goes. If you bring two, you'll sell 100. You bring 100, you'll sell two. That's
Yep.
just
Oh, it's the law. The law of what
Coughlin's
it.
law.
Yeah, Coughlin's
Coughlin's
law.
law.
Yeah. I believe that's all bar talk, but
Yeah, yeah.
um, so Sunday, let's talk about Sunday. Um,
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
Sunday, Bloody Sunday. And that's exactly what it was for a lot of people. Um, Sunday was packed. There was tons of people there.
Really?
Oh yeah, I did about
So
half.
was there any specific person, or do you think there was a reason, or just happened to be that way?
I just think it was Sunday. I don't know if they ran a promotion or what, but there was a lot of people there,
Okay.
and I did about half the sales on Sunday that I did on Friday. Um, it was like pulling teeth to get
Okay.
people to
Yeah, we
purchase
did basically the
anything
same
on
on
Sunday.
we
Um,
did basically the same on Sunday of Saturday.
okay, so you guys actually had a decent Sunday
Well, Saturday wasn't Saturday, yeah, it was a decent day.
in comparison.
Correct.
Um, it was a weird vibe. That was the day that was really weird. We had we just had a lot of people roaming. Um, I talked to a lot of people on Sunday, and they were like, "Yeah, I really needed it to be like triple what I did today for this to be worth it."
They needed
Um,
it to be a what
like
kind of
triple
day?
what
No,
they
a what
did.
kind of day?
No,
You're gonna
no,
say it. Come on.
a good day. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. Sorry.
Like Ice Cube,
Um,
it's got to be a good day.
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Uh, no, I mean, there's not much that I can say about Sunday except I was ready to get out of there the minute that they shut off those lights. Um, it was one of those just rough Sundays. Um, yeah, yeah, pack out,
How far
break
was your
down.
drive home from there?
An
It's not that
hour
far.
and
I was gonna
15
say an hour
minutes.
and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty
because
close.
ours is close to four. It's like three and a half
Right.
ish. So yeah, but again, Boppy did it. So the breakdown was easy. I showed him how to break down pretty easily. So they got back
Yeah,
home
my
before
breakdown
10.
now with the new setup is it's a little bit more intense, but it's quicker because I don't have as much product out, which is nice. Um,
And it
but
sounds like you sold a lot too, so that's good.
yeah, I had a decent amount of product sold because lots of single items. Sunday was lots of single items too. So I burned through the product. I just didn't get those big sales that I'm used to, so my average sales suffered and all that. Um, but breakdown, I think I was finished breaking down at like 6:50. And I kind of dinked around for the first 20 minutes anyway, so pretty quick breakdown for me. We decided once we got done breaking down, we walked downstairs and it was, oh man, it was uh, it was a shit show. Um, Same thing, you had to get a dock pass when you were broken down. They weren't giving them out until then, which was great, but the line was not
I was
moving.
gonna say, yeah, but everyone already had one somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So we uh, we decided, hey, let's go get something to eat, and there was this little bitty like seafood place that we had found in Ybor City a couple years ago, and Patrick was like, "Oh, I'd love to be able to go back there." And I'm like, "Well, I want to go to Colombia, this Spanish food restaurant." And we're driving over there, and we're
You
like,
know, Afro Columbia. It's like that
"No,
could
no,
be amazing.
that would be great." I didn't make that much money at that show, um, but no, we're driving over there, and uh, we're on the road going to Colombia, and I look over and I was like, "Holy crap, it's that seafood place!" And then I look at the Columbia parking lot, and there's tons of cars there, and there's people out the door, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're not going there. We're going to the seafood
Yeah.
place." So we had some seafood, and it was pretty good. Uh, but once we got back to the convention center, we got back there at like 8:45. Like it, we were like, no, it wasn't even 8:45. It had to have been about 8:30 because I think we got over there at like 20 after 7. Um, yeah, it had to be something like that because we only ate for about an hour. But we waited in line until 10 o'clock, 9:45, and then they let us pull onto the floor though. That was great. They were letting like 5 people pull on at a time, and we were able to get loaded in 25 minutes and get out of there. So that was what's that?
Waiting to pull on. Remember Denver? We were waiting to
Oh
pull
my
on the dock, and the
gosh.
guy's like, "We're waiting till they clear out." It's like clear out. There's like 2 people on the entire floor. It's ginormous,
Exactly. Get out
and
of
it
here.
wasn't like 8. It wasn't 2 semis. It was 2 vans.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Um, so overall, you know, it, the booth pricing has went up a lot since FanX took the show over. Um,
how
but
long have they owned it now?
well, they bought it during pandemic, like
It was okay. I
right
thought it was a
there.
little before that. That was like
Um,
2019, but yeah, okay.
well, no, because we did an interview with the old owner. I don't know if you
That's true.
remember,
Yes, yes,
right
yes.
before the sale happened. So I think they bought it in like 21.
Okay.
Um, and that first show was like $500 for a corner booth. They
Yeah,
were
like
the best.
525. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cheap. In basically 3 shows, they've went up, you know, almost doubled their pricing.
Yeah, and I
Um,
can understand Salt Lake going up because that shows, a bit of a gangbanger. As
well,
I knew you were gonna say that, but I beat you
yeah,
to
no,
it.
I wasn't. Um, looking at like Atlanta, that show should never be more than $600. Um,
Should be
you know,
250.
it's just not that strong of a show.
Hmm.
Indiana has a place to
In
go up, but
right,
not
Indiana's
that
decent.
much because they're still building their presence there as a guest show. Um, Tampa Bay, I don't know, man. And next year it's the first weekend in August.
Right,
So, it's
and
it's
it's.
the weekend after Raleigh.
I was gonna say it's. They also have what's the one that's in that same building? Is it MetroCon that's in that same
MetroCon
building?
is a month before.
Yeah, but it used to be relatively close, so they've
It
spaced it
was
out a
two
little bit.
weeks. Yeah, it was two
Yeah,
weeks
yeah.
later. Um,
So
but there's so much going on. Um, if I'm not mistaken, so next year in Florida, we have in July and August. Okay, we'll go July, August, September. Okay, you've got MetroCon, you've got Florida SuperCon, you have Fanboy Expo whenever that's going to happen. You have um, Animate Orlando,
forgot about that new one. Yeah.
and you have Tampa Bay Comic Con. And then if you jump just a little bit into September, you have Suogi. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's a Nerd Street show. It's an anime con that they're putting on.
In
So
Tampa?
in Orlando.
Oh, Orlando, you said.
So
Yeah, sorry.
like in an hour and a half radius, you've got a lot of shows happening.
Yeah, that's a bit oversaturation, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
I definitely think it's you're gonna have to look at how which shows are gonna be the better, and I legitimately don't know at this point.
Right.
Um, I do know that, and we'll talk about this in due time, but there was another expansion announced today for the people at GalaxyCon that we'll get into later on. But that's going to affect a lot of stuff too. So,
Yeah.
whoo, buddy. Um, would I go back? I think I'd go back if I was local, or if I was within a couple hours. This is definitely not a show that I would drive from St. Louis to. I had a friend that drove down, two friends actually that came down from St. Louis. One flew, one drove, and neither of them said that it was worth the time for them to come down.
So Where would you put this show in relation to, I don't know, something like New Orleans?
It's a New Orleans level show.
Yeah, okay. I agree. I agree. Sometimes
You,
it can be better, and sometimes it can be slightly worse too, right on par.
exactly, and
Right.
it's I gotta tell
And
you
even
though,
the
man.
better is
Woo,
not that much higher than something like New Orleans. Like,
yes.
yeah.
In New Orleans has a long way to go before it's what it used to be.
Well,
Because I don't know
again,
if,
they keep putting it in January. It's never going to get
well,
there.
I'll tell you, man. I disagree. I think there was a time when Wizard World New Orleans was definitely a show to go to in the first quarter. Um,
But first
but
quarter, not first week of January, right
no,
after
it was
Christmas.
it, it was right after Christmas.
Really, I
It was
just
yeah.
I don't feel that area has the money, and it's not a
Well,
destination show either. So it's like,
that area doesn't have the money, period, for
right.
the
So to do it
pricing
right after
that they're
Christmas
asking.
is way worse.
I mean, I agree. I've said we got to do it after Mardi Gras when people actually
Yes,
have
right.
money from
Which
people
is what,
being in town,
early February?
or March, depends,
Yeah. Okay.
but usually
Okay.
February.
Okay.
Um,
But I digress.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So assuming you don't leave Florida, you'd still do it.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
here. I agree with that 100%. I don't think somebody should be flying to this show from, California or, New York.
exactly. And one of the other things that I kind of want to know. One, um, Tampa, the airport in Tampa is kind of weird. I don't know if you've ever flown in there or not, but
Mm-mm.
um, the way that the way that you basically do security is like you get to the terminal and you go to your gate and then you do security there. Um,
Oh, wow.
it's weird. Um, I did that what is it, year and a half, 2 years ago when I flew out of Tampa. Um, because it was considerably cheaper for where I was flying. So I was like, yeah, let's go to Tampa because screw that. Um, so the airport's odd. The hotels this past weekend were through the roof. We were looking at possibly staying like Friday night, Saturday night, um, just to just to be able to not have the hour and a half ish, hour and 10 minute drive, both ways. And, you know, I shouldn't say they were super high, but even a Motel 6 was like $95.
Oh,
So,
I believe that's where Willie tried to chew my shoes.
no, that was La Quinta.
It was La Quinta. Sorry.
Yes, yes. It was a nice La Quinta, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I
There's
wasn't
there,
complaining. The
there's
price
only
was
like
great,
yeah, exactly. There's only like
especially divided
14
by
nice La
two.
Quintas. Exactly. Please, divided by one, you would have been happy with that because you're used to, the Ritz
I know.
Carlton. Um,
Thank God there's not
so
a Waldorf in Tampa, at
right,
least by the convention center.
the cost for this show, depending on when you do it, can be controlled. Last year I think we stayed down there for a night and it wasn't that bad. So just keep that in mind if you're doing the show too. There's a lot of good eats around
Yes,
there.
yes,
So
very good food.
like Harpoon Harry's.
I don't know that one, but they do have good food elsewhere.
Yes. Harpoon Harry's has fantastic crab bisque. So
Okay, sounds
uh
awful. Sounds
so
seafoody.
let's see. We're recording this on what is today?
On
Tuesday?
Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess we're releasing it soon.
It'll be
Um
released tomorrow,
what
normal time.
what do you have this weekend? Because I know you're on a crazy run of shows.
Yeah, so this weekend I can't remember. It's like my eighth or ninth in a row. Ready to die, but we have Dragon Con this weekend in
Oh,
Atlanta.
that's right. That's
So I
right.
get to
That's right.
drive, which is nice. I don't have to worry about flying to this one because it's been, like I said, a bunch of weeks in a row of just flights. So yeah, it'll be nice. After this, I'm pretty much free until New York
Not
in
doing. You
October.
guys are not coming up for Salt Lake.
I think I'm sending Reese.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And we're training somebody new this week. So there might be someone else new out there
Oh,
that you guys
jeez.
get to meet.
Oh, jeez. Too many people. You guys got too many people running
Well, I'm
things.
tired of doing 9 weeks in a row. So I'll take as many
Yeah,
people as I can
well,
get. This
you know what?
sucks.
Stop being greedy. You greedy bastard.
Although, although I will say on my flight home from Canada, I did sit next to a golf legend.
Jack Nicholson?
No,
Oh, wait,
he
no.
was not a golf legend.
Phil
He's an
Mickelson. That's who
acting
I was
lesson.
thinking about. I was thinking Phil Mickelson.
You're either Jack Nicholas or Phil Mickelson. You're one of the two. No, I sat next to Justin Leonard. So
Who?
he won a British Open. He hit the putt in the '99 Ryder Cup. It was like a 70-foot putt, basically to win. He hit it, so it's a big putt. But sat next to him,
And
chatted him up a little bit.
I was saying you talked about how bad you are at golf.
No, I said my son's a really good golfer. Do you have any advice for him? He's like, yeah, quit.
Yeah, that's the advice I would have given too.
Yeah.
Hey, I want
No,
to be a vendor.
he was really
Quit.
nice. He was really nice. But still, it was a flight. It sucks.
So, at some point over the next couple of weeks, just for everybody that's out there, Ryan and I are going to do another long con because we haven't done one in a while,
Long time?
in a long time. But the great thing is now that we're doing video, you get to actually see when we've done, over multiple days. Like my T-shirt's going to be different. Ryan's T-shirt's going to be different. His hair will be a little bit longer. It's going to be,
Well, I hope. I hope.
yeah.
No
Well,
guarantees.
well, that's true. It might not come back at all. But we're gonna do a long con. We're gonna talk about some stuff. One of those things is gonna be the wild expansion that a few companies are starting to do, and how it's gonna affect the industry. So you guys definitely want to keep an eye on that one. And we're also gonna talk about just stuff
Just
and
whatever.
things.
Whatever we
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah. Well.
One thing you guys may have noticed is that we are now, since we are video, we are now on YouTube. So if you could please head over to the tube of you and search for Con Job and give us a subscription. If you could just subscribe, that way you get notified. It
Yep,
helps us
you
out.
can, and if you're a Google or a YouTube, I guess Plus, whatever it is, I pay the $10 a month so that I
What
can
an idiot!
well, I don't hit commercial, and I don't have commercials. I can close my phone's display and listen to stuff. Like it's
Okay.
fantastic. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I love it just because, and I hate commercials. Just hate
So what were you
commercials.
gonna, what was the point of that?
That's just saying, you should definitely pay that $9.99 a month. That way you're not interrupted.
Yes, but please, at the very least, subscribe to our YouTube. And if you're only listening to this podcast on wherever, Spotify or Apple or wherever, subscribe to that too. Because again, that just helps us out. Lets them know who's listening. And it gives us more. Hey, I want to keep doing this because we have 3 people who are listening to it. So that's great.
Six now.
Oh, 6. We doubled
Six.
it. Sweet.
Yeah. And in 4 years we've doubled our we've doubled. And look, one of those was Meg. One of them
That's true.
is somebody that hates everybody, and they're just listening to us to spite us. Um, yeah, that's right. And then
Oh,
the other one is my mom. So
okay.
yeah.
I think my brother listens too because when Reese had that issue with the other vendor, he texted me out of the blue and he's like, "When Reese goes to her next show, make sure you let me know because I'm going too." And
That's
anybody who
great.
knows me, there's probably 2 people in this whole world I'm scared of, and number 1 on that list is my brother.
That's
He
funny.
is the biggest, strongest, baddest man I've ever seen. Yeah.
Let's
So
see. What else do we have? Do we have anything? Because we've went 38 minutes on this recording.
yeah, which means we've rambled a lot. So
Yeah.
go ahead and
Let's
take us home.
see. Yeah, well, first shout out to the family of Sid Vicious if you're a wrestling fan.
Yes, or Sid
He
Justice
yeah, or Sid Justice. He
or Psycho
passed
Sid.
passed a couple of days ago. Um,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
I have a small story about him.
Uh-oh.
In
Nobody cares, but
2000,
okay.
2000. I was still in school, and me and like four kids from the baseball team decided we're going. This was in Boca. We're going down to Miami to see Raw, and this is during the wars, right? So
Right.
we're there, and I think
Best
he's in
time.
the WWF at the time, so he's Sid Justice, and he's a heel, so he's a bad guy. And we're like, hey, we got to beat the crowd. Like last match is just about to finish. Let's go. I don't remember any of the main stuff, but anyway, so we get in the car. There's four of us in a little Lincoln Town car, and we're hauling ass to get out of there. And out of nowhere, this other Lincoln Town car cuts us off, and we're like, what the hell? And one of the guys that I was with, jacked. I mean, he's huge. I swear to God, he did steroids. Jeff Blair, shout out. And he's
Hopefully
huge.
Jeff
So I'm
Blair
like,
doesn't come after you for that.
but anyway, so I'm like, I'm safe. We got Jeff with us. I totally safe. So we pull up next to this car, and we roll down the window. We get up to where the driver is, and the driver looks over, and it's Sid Vicious. And we all went like this. We did not make eye contact, and we just got 2 lanes over as far away from it as we could. We're like, we're not messing with that dude, because anyone who doesn't know, he's like 6'10", 350.
Yeah.
He was Brock Lesnar
Yeah.
before Brock Lesnar.
Exactly. He was a monster
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Monster freaking dude.
Yeah. And he was chiseled.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he
he
was
was. He was.
and he played a crazy guy because
Yep.
he was scary.
Well, I mean, you looked
So
at him and you're like, "Oh, you're not right, sir. You're not right."
yes,
Um,
yes.
so
Anyway,
yeah, all right. Well, if that's all we got, man. You guys, thanks for watching us. I guess
yeah,
coming to
yeah.
you live from my living room and Ryan's.
Office.
It looks like print room. Um, we'll see you guys next week.
Au revoir.